it going, everybody? This is Ray with budgetshooting.com, and today I wanted to go over my 22 build that I started a couple of years ago and just finally got everything done and all of the parts in that I originally wanted for this thing. So I'm going to go ahead and showcase that a little bit today. I started this in like 2019 when I wanted to build an open class NRL 22 gun. This was actually right before the KRG was announced in 2019. So I went ahead and got KIDD Classic Slip Fit Action, FJ Feddersen barrel, which was highly recommended on Rimfire Central. When I built this thing, I haven't heard much about them lately, but this thing shoots lights out, even in the old chassis, which was a ProMag Archangel. That was always meant to be a stopgap. The KIDD has the provision for the rear tang to have a second point of contact, which has always been everyone's biggest complaint with 1022 platform, is it only had the one action screw, and depending on what stock you put in it, it could be loose, it could teeter-totter, it just wasn't the most secure thing out there. That's actually what made me decide on the KIDD action in the first place, was being able to have that. It was just few and far between the chassis that were available at the time, outside of buying a whole KIDD super grade that had the rear tang provision option. So I wanted to go with it anyway to see what had popped up. I originally was going to go with a Victor Titan stock because they were one of the few that had the rear tang provision, but that never ended up panning out. I went with the Archangel, and then obviously COVID happened not long after that and made getting parts real hard to do, and there just wasn't a lot of matches and stuff going on at the time. Not to mention ammo availability and everything that got ruined by that. And so finally, now that all of that is mostly behind us and KRG released the Bravo stock, I decided I was going to jump on one of those because I've always liked KRG's other offerings for centerfire rifles, and I've never had a chance to try one of their chassis before, so I figured this would be a good intro. It's designed specifically for the 1022 and has the rear tang provision, and this is what we ended up with. It's a factory trigger housing. It's got some Volquartsen internals. Obviously I changed out the mag release and trigger for this unit. I think I got those on eBay. I think it's a Timber Creek mag release, and I don't remember who makes the trigger, to be honest. It was someone I found. 10 round magazine is what I usually run on this. The KRG stock is just the way that it comes. I added the adjustable length of pull kit because as they come, it's more set up as a youth stock with like an 11-inch length of pull. Obviously, my arms are a little bit longer. I need a little bit more length of pull. So I went ahead and put that on there and added the spacer that the chassis comes with. This is awesome because it's all quick adjust, cheek rest, and buttstock with the added kit. Makes it all really easy to adjust on the fly if you have different shooters that want to try the gun or anything like that. Optic on it is a Athlon Argos BTR, 6-24 by 50. Similar magnification range to my Ruger Precision Rimfire. That's got a Vortex Diamondback Tactical on it, but I went with this on this one specifically because these have a zero stop. The Vortex doesn't. It's really a deal killer in my opinion, especially for a match gun, to not include a zero stop on the rifle. So that's the biggest reason I went with this. Price point, I've had luck with it on other guns, especially centerfire rifles, and it has held up really well. So I figured for rimfire, can't be beat. Other than that, it's got a KIDD bolt and charging handle kit and everything in it. This thing is mostly KIDD other than the trigger and the barrel. The V-block that holds the barrel on, I recently found this company on eBay and online called Moonduck. So this thing, let me take a step back a little bit. When I first built this thing, I had one of the gunsmither barrel blocks on it that didn't have the V-block aspect. It just had you shave down the barrel and it butted up flat against it to hold the barrel from coming forward, and then it had the set screw underneath that let you adjust for barrel droop. And while the design was good, I had issues with the barrel coming loose when that block would walk out a little bit because it didn't have that V-groove aspect holding onto the barrel. So I put a factory V-block back on it and recently found that Moonduck which is a nice hybrid between the two, because it's a nicely machined V-block that holds your barrel in the same way as factory onto the little dovetail cut in the barrel on a 1022, but it also has a provision through the center to come up into the barrel and adjust for any barrel droop from these heavy barrels. So I decided on that. I just got this thing put together the other day. I haven't had a chance to shoot it yet, but we'll see how it does with all of these changes, and especially that V-block, and see if it does anything for me accuracy wise. This thing was never inaccurate in the Pro Mag stock, it just didn't have quite the fit and finish that I wanted. The Pro Mag had the same adjustability on the back end, which was really nice, but it was only a pick rail interface up front. The fore end was a little bit short, and it didn't have the provision for the rear tang, which I really wanted to have that second point of contact. The nice thing about the Pro Mag is that it fit really tight to the action. It was actually kind of hard to install, so tight that I think it was probably very well supported. But the other issue I had was the whole thing was made out of polymer, and it just had one little bedding sleeve for that action screw up front to do any of the bedding, which I didn't really like. I felt like it compressed a little bit every time I installed it. Playing with torque and stuff like that, it was never consistent on the action screw, because that's one way to tune these, is playing with torque on the action screw. Anyway, this thing's basically done now. The Arca rail that I put on it is actually just a camera Arca rail. It's a long Arca rail for camera mounting, but it just so happens, and I don't know how well you can see that in the video, but the height is almost perfect with the bottom of this magazine well on the KRG, so it gives it more of a sleek look. So instead of running a thin Arca rail, I wanted to run that. It gives it a little bit of added weight and height for more of a flat surface, I guess. It's to Arca standard, so it's not any wider or anything like that, but I like that. On these 1022 Bravo stocks, the M-lock slots just mount into polymer. They don't mount into the backbone unless you buy KRGs, which I was gonna consider on this, but I wanted to give this one a try before I spent the money on a KRG rail. True to the channel name, it is budget shooting. I can't go all out on everything. But the nice thing about this is the chassis comes with a bunch of T-slot nuts instead of M-lock nuts that fit into the voids above the M-lock rail on this, and it gives you a little bit more of a footprint over the small little M-lock studs to mount it. So I took the backbone out and got those all mounted in, and got this Arca rail mounted, and it's super solid. That's not going anywhere. It's actually a lot better clamp, I think, than the M-lock would have been in the first place. I think the only way I could have gotten any better is going with the KRG, because they mount with a whole bunch of screws. A couple of them go through to the backbone, a couple of them just mount to the polymer. I think that would have been a slightly more rigid option, but I'm super happy with this so far. I'm gonna have to get it out and shoot it, obviously, like I said, and see how this thing does. But all in all, this is a really nice upgrade over the Pro Mag, I feel like. This thing is about finished. I'll probably get a KIDD 2-stage trigger eventually for it, and then we'll see about the barrel. I want to do some more accuracy testing with the FJ Feddersen before I make any decisions, because it is a little bit heavy, but if it's accurate, I don't mind that. It's supposed to be a match gun. Obviously, I want more of a stable platform, so I didn't want to go super lightweight with this thing. In fact, after adding the Arca rail, it moved the balance point forward a little bit, so I think I'm going to add some weight to the back to better balance this out. But for now, it's really not bad. And it's not all that heavy for a match gun. The other thing about this FJ Feddersen barrel is it is threaded, so I can run my suppressors on it. Yeah, overall, I really like this setup. I'm excited to give it a try. Like I said, I just got it built. I haven't had the chance to shoot it yet. Probably take it out within the next couple weeks and do a little video on that. Maybe we'll shoot some groups and see how it does. I never got a chance to group test the old Pro Mag stock. It never really blew me away accuracy wise. It was always great, especially for a 22, but I think that's all in the action and barrel. The platform it was on wasn't as stable, so it did well, but it was a 1 to 2 MOA gun on a good day. Nothing to blow you out of the water, nothing that was really super match accuracy, but you know, good enough. But I wanted to upgrade to this to give it every little edge that I could. Obviously, at the time that I built this, there were still 1022s, mostly just kid super grades that were doing well in NRL 22 matches, especially in open class. Now everything has really shifted towards Voodoo and Rimex and some of those more high-end actions. So I wouldn't take this thing to a match and really expect it to blow everything out of the water, or even, I don't know, really, I wouldn't even expect to place within the top 10, not only because I'm not an experienced match shooter, but also because I would have to be up against those guys with multiple thousands of dollars in a Voodoo or Rimex setup, when this thing is, I'll probably have to add it up again, but can't be more than $1,500 in this whole complete setup, including Optic and chassis and everything. So I'm not saying money's everything, but those Voodoo and Rimex setups really perform. I just don't see this thing overtaking a bolt action, let alone some of those high dollar ones. But I enjoy it, and I want to see what kind of accuracy potential I can get out of it. So in the next couple weeks, we'll take it out, we'll see what it does. I'll get some group testing done, and I'll post another video on that as soon as we got it. Otherwise, thank you for watching. If you like this type of content, you can check out some of my previous videos. I do a lot of Form 1 suppressor content, as well as precision rifles way back in the day. Really want to start getting back into that, doing some more videos on the precision rifle aspect of things. As soon as 6.5 ammo is more available, I have a Thompson Center Compass build that I've been working on for a couple of years now, thanks to COVID also. I did a video on my 223 build, which has gone through a couple of other changes, so I need to update that and see if they made any kind of difference at distance. I did shoot 1,000 yards with that 5.56 gun before the changes. That was factory chassis, or factory stock and everything, so you can go watch that. But yeah, hoping to get more into the gun aspect and precision aspect of things here coming up. Gonna keep filming and just posting stuff that I'm interested in, so if you're interested in this kind of stuff as well, go ahead and subscribe. If you like this video, give it a like. If you have any comments, you can leave them in the comment section down below, and I try and reply to everyone that's got anything relevant to say. But yeah, thank you for watching. Have a great day.